Right, the news, and we begin tonight with well, probably the best piece of news I've ever heard since I was born. An event, in fact...
Don't.
...which eclipses the very miracle of my birth.
Hang on, the best piece of news you've ever heard ever.
What is it?
They're going to stop making the Beetle.
And that's it? That's not the new
That is fantastic. No,
it's not
the
that
old
good,
one.
is it?
They're still making it till the 30th of July, and then it stops forever.
And why is that so good,
Why do you
really?
hate it so much?
Do you really want me to do it?
Well, no, just... I can't... I mean,
OK, it's a rubbish car.
That's incisive.
That's the first thing. It's a rubbish car. Secondly, it was a scandal. OK, that car was stolen from a Czech bloke called Ledwinka, I think, by Hitler and his henchmen. They put it into production. They stole money off the German people to build it and to build a factory. They never got a car. Instead, they used the factory and slaved Russian labour from the Eastern Front to build V1 bombs.
So you can't blame the poor little Herbie.
And I haven't finished yet.
Oh, here we go.
In the factory, Russian slave labour built V1 flying bombs, one of which landed where my house now stands.
That is the most convoluted reason for
There's
hating...
more.
Oh, no.
Does anybody own a Beetle?
No,
Yes.
nobody's going to...
Right. Are you happy driving around in a mass murderer's personal biffer bag? You are? Well, what? I mean, I don't understand it. It's completely wrong.
It's gone and you're rejoicing.
I'm chuffed a bit.
And I couldn't care less.
I have to say me neither, but, you know, there you
You're
go.
a loser. What's the loser got for us this week,
Well,
loser?
you big oaf. I've got the following. More good news, actually, for you. Because a while ago we saw, well, Vauxhall showed us the new Astra. Well, at least what they said it was going to look like. We've got a picture of it here. Now, that we all agreed, I think we are all agreed, is a fantastic-looking thing. And Jeremy said, well, if it looks anything like that when they make the real one, I'll eat my hair. And the good news for you, Jeremy, is it looks like this. Oh. So it's safe.
It's safe.
Yeah, I mean, they send us a load of stuff on it, and I've been through it all, and all I can see is lights. It tells you it's got, this is a good one, forward lighting headlamp system.
That's what you said.
I'm always fed at you. Turn the light. I've illuminated my engine bay again and can't see where I'm going.
And it goes on about the rear light scattering translucent technology in the rear lamps, so they actually light up. Yeah, I don't get that.
Right. Jonathan Ross, OK?
Yeah.
Jonathan Ross, it was reported in the papers this week, is planning on spending £1.2 million on this private number plate, ROS 5. Now, if you're sitting at the lights and a bloke pulls up next to you in a pale blue Mazda, OK, with horse seats, floppy hair, purple driving gloves, you're not going to go, it's Trevor McDonald.
No, you're right.
We know who you are, Jonathan. You don't need a private registration plate.
I'm gutted, actually, because I like Jonathan Ross. I think his radio programme,
Fantastic radio programme.
But now, disgrace.
That is a lot of money for him to spend on a number plate he can't say, isn't it? And that must be a real problem for a high-ranking celebrity like Jonathan Ross.
Right, quick one. John Prescott, right, always telling us use our cars less. We know the fella. Last year spent £320,000 on taxi fares. Which, I mean, that equates to, we worked out, about 900 quid a day.
Where's he going?
Well, exactly. Who's
And why are they bringing him back?
Precisely. Leave him there. I've got one I'd like to get over with very quickly, all right? We've charted the gradual sliding downhill of Jaguar. Last series we spoke about the diesel. Now it's got an awful lot worse. The new X-Type Estate. This is an Estate Jaguar front-wheel drive.
What's with that?
That's dreadful.
Well, it's an awful idea, Jeremy.
Well,
Look
if
at
you've
that.
got a dog, now you can have a dog in a cat.
Oh!
No, I just don't see what's wrong with it.
It looks like a Mondeo. It's terribly
It is a
depressing.
Mondeo.
It's very
What have you got?
Stagecoach. These are the bus operator people. They've come up with something remarkable. It's a 94-seater double-decker coach which will take you between Oxford and London or Glasgow and Edinburgh for £1. And they've said, we're going to take the frills out of bus travel. What? But believe it or not, OK, I said, well, what are... But there were some. They've taken out the telly, the woman at the front with the microphone who points out the Tower of London, and the lavatory.
What?
There's no lavatory on the bus.
Didn't know. Do you have lavatories on buses?
Don't worry about it, Jeremy.
Does
You never
anybody
have,
here
you never
know?
will.
Do they have a
Of course
lavatory?
you have
Of course
lavatories
they
on
do.
buses.
Have you not used one?
You've got a Lotus Exit. Actually, that's why you'd go on the bus, obviously.
Have you never tried the level? You've never been on a bus?
I've never been on a bus. What are you on
I can
about?
show you how they work. Look, you sit next to somebody like that, but there's a little wall about that thick.
He's parking his breakfast.
Trousers round ankles.
I'm reading Woman's Own because I'm, an 85-year-old
And you just drive along the M40 like that.
And you're having
I'm
number
getting
2.
rid of... Yes.
Is
He's
that
reading
what
the
it's like
paper.
on a bus,
Yes.
and now they've taken the lavatory out?
Yeah. But what really amazes me is this, OK? It's got 94 seats. They say we can sell the seats for £1. To maximise profits, they've taken out the lavatory, which is obviously the size of 1 seat. So they've made an extra £1. By delivering a load of constipated people to Oxford.
The next thing that's going to happen is people will be with Primus stoves cooking their lunch on the floor and live chickens, and people arriving on the underside of Eurostar from Azerbaijan will see one of those things go by and think, we've gone around a big circle, I'm back in Azerbaijan again. This is the third world, for God's sake.
Actually, if there's no lavatory, they should just get rid of the back window and have a plank with holes in it. In fact, that's just like following a rugby tour, because they've always got their backsides up. No, but no different.
Seriously, though, Stagecoach, I've worked this out. If you want this business venture to be a success, seats for £1, 94-seater coach, don't take the lavatory out of the bus, make every seat a bog. Right?
Brilliant. Perfection. You could all read the paper. It's rubbish, isn't it, that? Yeah. I'm going to talk about the new Ferrari. It's called the Scaglietti, and it replaces the 456, so it's the new 4-seater, and it's gorgeous. And Jeremy's
How much
wrong.
is it?
It's about 150, just under 150,000
How big's
pounds.
the engine?
It's 4-point-something litres, 4.6. It's 540 brake horsepower, 0 to 60 in about 4 and a bit seconds.
I don't like it.
You're so wrong. It's a very good-looking car.
Can we just stop spinning the tape? Hold the tape there. That does not look like a Ferrari.
Not your schoolboy idea of a wedge Ferrari. It's
The problem is,
Ferrari.
it's designed by Pininfarina, OK? Now, Pininfarina's top designer at the moment is a man called Ken.
Yes.
Now, people called Ken are people you borrow lawnmowers from. No great person in history. It was not Ken Rembrandt. It was not Ken Chopin.
There's never been a Pope Ken, has
No,
there?
there has been a King Kenneth in England, but that was a Kenneth, like Kenneth Kendall. That's allowed, but not Ken. You can't have a Ferrari Ken. Actually, it's an interesting case in point. When was the last, and you were invited to join in here, when was the last really good-looking Ferrari?
456.
456 now. Look,
Yeah.
575 is a fabulous looking car.
355 looked good when it came out, but dated, and actually now looks
Footballer's
quite old.
Ferrari, and he had one.
It's the ball!
No!
What do you think?
I always like the 412 series.
The 412.
Oh, dear.
You've got a beard. Beard alert. Your opinion. It's all slick down here.
What don't you like about that? I don't actually like it very much. I'm just interested to know what you don't like about it.
I'm not.
It's got no arse.
Neither of you anymore. You've lost quite a bit of weight, haven't you,
Oh.
since the last series?
I was hoping you'd notice, actually. Look at that.
No, that's
In
not
fact,
your
I lost
arse,
so
that's
much
your
we could have made
stomach.
another hymn out of what I've lost. No, there must have been a good-looking Ferrari. Ignore Beardy. There must have been a good-looking Ferrari between the Daytona and now. What? What, the 288? The Vampire, I reckon's got it. The 288 GTO in blood red.
Sat up from his coffin.
Steve Strange over there.
Yeah.
He's worked it out.
Cars that have come along this year. Do you remember when Ford promised us the Focus RS? They said it was going to be a road-going rally car with 4-wheel drive and 300 brake horsepower, and, well, it never happened, did it?
No, they left the homework on the bus.
Yeah.
Well, all the plans doctored.
Abducted by aliens on the way to school. It never arrived. Well, this, ladies and gentlemen, is the Fiesta RS. Now, if you like the look of that, don't hold your breath, because that won't happen either. But if you do want a hot-ish Fiesta, this will. We've got one in the studio, actually. It's called the Fiesta ST. Now, it's a smart-looking little thing. It's arriving later this year. It's going to have a 2-litre, 150 brake horsepower engine, lots of little sporty, sparkly bits on it. Kind of a modern take on the XR2, really. Nice little thing.
Has one big problem. Its name, ST. You can't call a car an ST.
Why not?
Girls?
What?
See, they're laughing. You know, whisper it to me. I know you'll be embarrassed. Come on, whisper it to me.
Sanitary towel.
It's a sanitary towel. That's what ST stands for. Every girl goes up to the office, come wear an ST. And of course, the worst thing is, if they do a diesel version, it'd be an STD.
I've got another car that's coming along in August. It's the new Mini Cabriolet. They're going to be doing versions of it. This is the Cooper version, actually.
What's the noises for? Do you like it?
Heck, I do, actually. I think that looks great. Maybe it's the shirt.
How much is it going to cost?
It's going to cost, well, they'll generally be about £2,500 more than the equivalent hardtop. So that the Cooper S, the supercharged version, will be about 17.5, 15.5 for the Cooper, about 13.5, I think, for the Mini one. Yeah, but the Mini isn't, it's not a cheap small car, it's an expensive small car, and I like that.
It's a metrosexual car.
A what?
Metrosexual, it's the new thing, it's for the chap. He doesn't want to be too butch, he doesn't want to have, you know, like a big 4x4, and he spends quite a lot of money on hair products.
Don't point at me.
He's interested in shirts. Probably wears cowboy boots, that kind of thing. He's a blend of gay and not
metro
gay.
flaming sexual.
You are a metrosexual, and I can see you in one of those.
Pardon me, how would you know what a metrosexual is?
I'm not only in touch with my feminine side, I'm in touch with my gay side as well.
You're probably right.
17.5 grand's where it all goes a bit wrong for me, to be honest.
I think that's a great little car. I look forward to driving one. So there.
Hey, I've got an interesting statistic. You know the Maybach? The great big Mercedes thing.
Yeah.
Mercedes Maybach.
Yeah.
What is it? £292,000, there it is. Do you know how much that depreciates by over the first 3 years of its life?
No, quite a lot, I'd think, but...
Guess?
No idea.
£1,200 a week.
Ouch! A week?
Now, the great thing is, that's before you've paid the chauffeur.
Yeah.
Before you put your petrol in, you wake up in the morning, oh, I've lost 1,200 quid.
What shall I do next?
Oh, I'm going to lose another 1,200 by this time tomorrow. I think there's a solution to this, though. Buy the new Rolls-Royce Phantom, because that only loses 1,100 quid a week.
That's much more like it.
It's a bargain. Yeah. The Highways Agency, OK? It has this kind of guideline to those people who have advertising hoardings not to put them near roads that have got a speed limit more than 60 miles an hour. Yeah. I don't know if you've noticed, I've been driving around the summit. All over Britain, by motorways, farmers are putting lorries in their fields and then selling the side of them to, like, local companies.
Yeah.
Here's a tip. If you are one of these local companies, keep it brief. Because I saw one the other day that said, want to use Jag? Go to www.iwanttousejag.co.tv or call Debbie on 0129... I'm going 70 miles an hour. Whoa, yeah. I never saw it. What was it on about?
They really are farmers, not copywriters, aren't they? That's the problem.
No, absolutely.
It wants to be sort of, use Jags next left.
No, that's too many words. Keep it tight.
OK. Jags left.
No, I was in that Porsche and... Woof, no, Jags too low. Woof, that's Jag. I want one of those. The worst one, though, the worst one I've seen, I don't know if anybody ever uses the M40 like he and I do to get to work, OK? Someone has written on a big, long wall as you're coming into London, why do you do this every day?
It's so depressing, I know.
Why do I do this? Have you seen it?
I've seen it, and then there is another one on a bridge, which you look up and it just says, Lemmings.
Oh,
no! It's a Monday, leave me alone.
No.
It's horrible.
What it should say, though, really, if we're honest, it should say something like, why do you do this every day? Why don't you come out with me and drink meths and paint on a wall? It
can't be that smug, really. You're right. That's true.
In case he's on the bridge, I'm actually going to paint the top of my car. It's going to say something like, get a job, buy a car.
Reverse graffiti. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
Can I talk about a car?
Yeah.
Right, new Ferrari. Very exciting. It is this. Now, it's kind of
the same designer as the Porsche.
It is a new one. It's the new 360, if you like. The 360 is so called because it had a 3.6-litre engine. This is called the 430. That's a clue. It's a 4.3-litre engine. 117,500 quid that'll cost you, 0 to 60 in about 3.9 seconds. Just magnificent. 200
miles an hour as well.
Yeah, just under.
Fantastic. But you know, I'm bored with Ferrari.
How can you be bored with that?
I'm bored, because we've got a few coming up in the series, actually. And everyone I've got into, they're brilliant. They're absolutely brilliant. But they've become like Pete Sampras. You know, when he was... No, you just think, when he used to walk onto the court, there was that sense of, I don't care if you play Myra Hindley, I want you to lose.
I think they might be getting a bit tawdry as well, to be honest.
What do you mean?
Well, I went to the Ferrari factory last week, lovely, but I think I saw in the shop Ferrari aftershave.
Oh, no.
The worst one I've seen recently is, you know, Hummers, right, Humvees? You can buy Hummer aftershave. It comes in a jerry can of repressed homosexuality. It's called I Am Not gay. Whoa, look at me.
My big
Oh, no, I'm quarrying me. Now, you know Alistair Darling? I've got a photograph of him here.
Still looks like a badger, doesn't he?
He does. He's our Transport Minister. He has appointed a Minister of Road Safety whose name is Ladyman.
It's not.
His name is Ladyman, which means that there's a picture of him. Our Transport Department is now being run by Darling and Ladyman.
Excellent.
It's true. Mind you, I've done some checking on this guy. Okay, guess what he drives?
Bus.
No.
Tandem bicycle.
No.
Tricycle.
Horse or a badger? Or
No,
rickshaw?
no. He drives an Alfa Romeo, a 156.
Really?
And until recently, he had 9 points on his licence.
He's one of us.
Welcome on board, Mr. Ladyman. Pop down any time you like. Bring Mr. Darling with you.
Yeah.
I'm going to move on. What's the ugliest car ever made? You stupid man. Can you say a Mazda MX-5 is not good looking? You're just not in touch with your woman's side there.
Can I suggest the Hyundai Matrix as the
No,
ugliest
you
car of all
can't.
time? That's
The
hideous.
whole of the rule book on what is ugly has been rewritten by a company called SsangYong with this.
Oh, Mama!
What the hell were they thinking? Look at the tape. Look at the wheels, only 9 inches big.
But look at this. It's big, gloopy front. I might be sick.
The thing about this car is it's going to be sold in Britain, and they say it will cost less than 19,000.
Well, it was. About 19,000 less. That's
Remove it. Remove it from the site. Now, Top Gear needs your help, because in this series we're going to be trying to find what is the best driving song ever written.
Yes.
Okay, now this is a song that when it comes on the radio you just can't help like putting your foot down a bit.
But this is a driving song, which is... It's not just your favourite song, because sometimes your favourite driving song sounds rubbish out the car, but in the car it just works.
I already know
Please
what
don't tell us any of your favourite tracks at all. Don't talk about your music.
Radar Love. Golden Earring. I've been
That's
driving
all right.
all night, my hands are wet on the wheel.
This problem...
Right, anyone else? Come on, what other songs? Chemical Brothers. I was about to get on to this. Can we try to remember, when we're voting for this, that music has been happening before, right, the
But
last
can
two...
we ignore Jeremy on that? Chemical Brothers is perfectly acceptable. You're just old and you won't know it.
He'll vote for Busted and McFly. Maroon 5, maybe Girls Aloud. Was, oh, that's a really...
And let me guess the price of things these days. And these newfangled CDs, you can't get the needle to stay on them, can you?
Above his bed, he's got a picture of H out of steps. You can see it's going to be a big debate, this, and that's what we're really hoping for. So do please write to us at Top Gear, BBC Television, Wood Lane, London, W12. Or, of course, you can go onto our website, which is bbc.co.uk/Top Gear. Do please let us know what your favourite driving song ever is.
And I'll try and keep him away from it. Since BMW announced the new Mini, you know, what, 4 years ago, something like that, they've been saying, oh, there's going to be loads of really exciting, wild and wacky versions of it. We'll do like a mini flatbed pickup and a mini cement mixer and a fire engine and one of those things for getting into aeroplanes, all based on the Mini. Well, they've finally got round and done it. A Mini new version, and it is a Mini Estate, which isn't quite as exciting as we'd hoped. But what do you reckon they've done? It's a German car, it's a French engine, of course, but they've decided to make it British. They've wanted to give it something quintessentially British. So what do you think they've given it that just says...
Queen.
No.
A Beefeater.
No.
Edward Fox.
No. A what?
A hearse?
No. What they've done is fit it with some teaspoons and tea bags. That's it.
That sort of thing really annoys me.
We should do a car that's quintessentially German.
Well, just replace the spoons with little sausages in
No,
clips.
no. Give it trafficators that go like that. A sat-nav that only goes to Poland. Und ein Fanbelt that will last for 1,000 years.
No, I don't think so.
Now, this is very important. Suzuki, I think, may have come up with a car to replace our reasonably priced car, you know, our beloved Liana.
Yeah.
It's very appropriate. It's small, it looks a bit cack, and it's ridiculous. Do you want to see it? Here it is. It's the Suzuki LC.
Oh, that's not
You
good.
say it was called the LC?
It's the LC.
Oh, the LC. Because did Tokyo Motor Show this year, they've really got into their stride on names for cars, the Japanese. I've got some here which I picked out, OK? This is called Mom's Personal Car. Well, that's his actual name. Mom's Personal Car. And there's a van, OK? You want to guess what that's called?
Dad's personal van?
No, you're quite wrong. It's actually called the Vanus Hobio Travel Dog.
Oh,
Why didn't we guess?
And my absolute favourite, and there's a picture of it here, is the Honda Wonderful Open-Hearted Wagon.
Snappy name! Snappy!
That's great. And the dog! Perhaps it's a British one, look. They've got the Queen's dog there.
Tell you what, though, best thing about that car isn't actually the name. It's the interior. You'll never guess what they've fitted it with inside, OK? Here it is. I don't know if you get the dog or if you bring your own dog. I'd like to see you get my Great Dane in there.
Right, now, there's a new motoring website come out. It's for homosexuals. It's a motoring site for homosexuals. Do you know what they've called it? No, not Top Queer. So that's very good. Very good. That's better than what they've come up with. That is actually better. They've actually called it, we got it here, Top Gayer. I like Top Queer more.
Yeah. Well, set up a rival one.
The best thing about this, OK, because I went and checked this one out, and yeah, the editor is called Rich.
Oh, come on, it's not.
No, he's put a CV of himself in, and he says he lives in the Cotswolds.
Well, yeah, I do.
He's got a 4x4.
Yes, I have, but look, I'm not moonlighting as the editor of a gay website, OK?
He's got a dog.
Yes, look, it's not me.
He's had his teeth whitened.
I haven't had... I have not had my teeth whitened.
What, they've just become white?
In the same way that yours have gone green. It's just... it just happens to your teeth.
Anyway, listen. If you are a homosexual and you want to know about cars, write to Richard Hammond at Suspiciously Neat House, Dog Lane, the Cotswolds.
Thank you.
Now, have a look at this. This is an electronic device. It's called the Quick Start. It costs £9.99. You stick it in your cigarette lighter when you're driving in France, and when you turn the car on in the morning, its little electronic voice reminds you to drive on the right.
That might be useful if you're a bit thick.
Sounds like a good idea. Actually, it's a complete waste of £9.99. When you get up in the morning, all your luggage has been stolen from the boot and your car's just a burnt-out shell, you'll know you're in France anyway, so why do you do that?
Sure, you don't need it.
It's a fair point.
That is a fair point. Hey, you know the police have got no way of testing drivers for drugs. Now, you might think, well, so, it's not a very big problem. There's only so many Pete Dohertys driving around. Well, a study has shown this week that at any one time, 20% of young drivers on the road are under the influence of drugs.
20%?
1 in 5. It's a staggering statistic.
There's one.
How did you... How did you get here today? What? You flew? The sirens brought in.
Peugeot 306 spaceship. The thing is, as a result of this problem, the police have had to introduce special tests for drugs.
What tests?
I don't know, it didn't say. I haven't looked up. I mean, I'm imagining it's things like they, you know, wander up, tap on the window and say, would sir like a Jaffa cake? Feeling peckish?
Well, it works for cannabis. It's not going to work for cocaine, though, is it?
No,
That's going to have to be... Why don't you tell us a little about yourself? Well, I will, actually, since you mention it.
That's true.
1960, that would get
They'd
on
have to vary it. Ecstasy would be easy, because they just say, roll down the window, now, sir, do you love me? Do you want a big hug? Come on. You're
Do you love me? Don't let him drive home.
Take him away.
Don't let him drive home.
To test for speed, they'd have to give the driver a hoover.
Hey?
No, you know when you're at a big party, at the end of it, everybody's asleep. The bloke who's on speed is always hoovering.
The rock and roll years with James May.
You can just imagine the hotel. Oh, I hope Mr. May hasn't trashed his bedroom. Oh, it's immaculate.
Let's get back to cars, OK?
Well, why not?
Or nearly. There's a new truck, OK, coming from America. Here it is. It'll be on sale in Britain in July. It's called the Dodge Caliber. Right-hand drive. Do you want to know how much that is? 11,500 quid.
Is that all?
Yeah, 11,500 quid. That is what, 6 times less than a Range Rover?
Yes.
How have they done that?
Well, it's 6 times smaller than a Range Rover.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm not joking. It is actually the size of a Golf. It's a 1.8 two-wheel drive family hatchback designed to look like that. They're actually in trouble in America because they've been advertising and they've dubbed the V8 soundtrack over the ad.
To make it look big.
Yeah, they've just got, look at this, and it's tiny.
It's like me, that car.
It's not.
It is, because people think it's further away than it really is. I get it all the time. People come up to shake my hand and they stick their finger in my eye. They're like, oh, I thought you were over there, and you're here.
No, that's absolutely right, because I'm often talking to someone about what a cock he is, thinking he's right over the other side of the room.
And I'm here.
And then actually he turns out to be standing right next to me.
The things I hear like that.
That is the world's most pointless car.
Good, well, we sorted that.
The end. You know the hot Renault Clio? There's a really fast one. They've done an even hotter one, OK? It's called the R27. It's got a lower, stiffer chassis. We've got a photograph of it here, OK? Now, these are the 4 Renault Formula 1 racing drivers, OK, for this year. Now, this chap, OK, the new one, he really likes this car. He's very excited by it. He's very, very excited.
To see it, isn't he? Really pleased. Oh, I mean... What I love as well, if you look around, the other guys who clearly spotted the problem, well, you could hardly miss it, could you? Are all very embarrassed. Don't look.
You see this? OK, I got this photograph from a French website. The actual official photograph that was sent to us by Renault. Let me show it to you. Look, they said, go and stand behind the car, man. Embarrassing.
But they're all racing drivers. Couldn't they have lent him a crash helmet to hold in the appropriate way?
It was his crash helmet that caused the problem.
Leave it.
First place. Oh, now. News from the Director of Public Prosecutions, who I discovered in the paper this week is called Ken something or
Not
other.
called Ken.
Ken is the name of a man you borrow a stepladder from.
Yeah.
Not the Director of Public Prosecutions.
Ken has announced that there's a whole raft of new motoring offences for which you can go to prison, OK? One of them is retuning your radio.
Oh, don't be stupid.
Seriously?
Well, what if the Archers comes on? Ooh. I can't listen to an episode of The Archers in the car without losing my temper and having a crash, deliberately, to end it.
Ken has decided that we will have to tolerate these things because you're not allowed to retune the radio. You're also not allowed to put lipstick on.
Again? What? No.
But get this one, you're not allowed now to be an undertaker.
What? Hang on, Undertaker.
You're an undertaker. You're an undertaker, you're going to prison. Ken says if you undertake someone...
Oh, hang on.
Well, I've always had a bit of a beef about this because I reckon if you go past someone on the inside, there's room to do that. There was room for them to have got out of the way in the first place. Yeah. They're the ones who should be prosecuted. They can't find prisons to put paedophiles in, but they're going to be putting him in it for being an undertaker. It's ridiculous.
Well, actually, they can't find the paedophiles, because 300 have gone missing.
I know where they are. If you drive down the outside lane of a motorway now, not retuning the radio at 50 miles an hour, OK, you are immune from prosecution, OK? So it's the ideal place to go if you're being looked for by the law. So, therefore, anyone doing 50 in the outside lane of a motorway is a child molester.
Oh, no. Wow, that's amazing. You've used logic there. That's incredible.
Argue with that. Hey, now, can I just say, OK, it's been a while since we sat here as a group, as you know, so I thought it would be a good idea just to canter through a few of the good cars and bad cars we've driven while we've been off air. And I have to say, good cars for me, Lexus. Particularly, actually, the GS, the one in the middle.
I'm with you.
The hybrid one, though. No, this one, OK? This looks like a normal car. Great thing is, OK, its batteries will only take you less than a mile, which means most of the time you're on the V6. You know, you're chewing fuel, you're warming the world up, everybody's happy, OK? It's very quiet, it's very fast, it's very, very comfortable. And, of course, you can drive it to London, do U-turns on Piccadilly all day long. Ken Livingstone can't charge you a penny. Brilliant car. It's a properly brilliant car, that. I'm going to put, like, a little 9-volt battery in a Hummer. It's a hybrid. Oh, hey, now. You know McLaren are working on a new supercar? Well, given what's happened in Formula 1 this year, we've been able to speculate on what that will look like. Here it is.
Yes. So that's a 430 Scuderia, isn't it?
It is,
Right.
yes.
And that's a kind of a new version of the 430, and it's a bit lighter than the standard car, a bit faster. It's got the flappy paddle gearbox on it, but it changes gear even faster, which is all great, but it costs £28,000 more than a standard 430.
I know, it brings us back to those lightweight supercars that we were reviewing last week, because what really annoys me is that you buy a Ferrari 430 and you think this is as good as Ferrari can make a car, and then a couple of minutes later they come along and go, no, actually, this is.
But it's going to cost an extra £28,000.
But if you give us, give us another £28,000, you'll have a car that's as good as we can actually make it.
Exactly right.
I think it's a bit like that Sainsbury's Taste the Difference cheese.
No, let me think about
Like cheese.
Hold on a minute.
No.
No, it's not like cheese.
No, that's not cheese.
No.
This is an analogy. But you go into Sainsbury's and you see cheese, and it costs a certain amount of money, but then next to it there's Taste the Difference cheese, and it's a little bit more expensive, but it tastes really nice.
The bachelor life.
No, but what I want to know is, why don't they just make all the cheese like that? Or do they just make that cheese and then make something that's a bit worse, price it lower and say, here's some rubbish cheese for poor people?
Hang on, I'm confused. So why
Why are you on this programme?
I'm right, aren't I? It is like... Why would you deliberately make the cheese less good than you could make it?
It's a bloody Ferrari!
This is exactly my point. They've deliberately made the F430 less good than they know it can be, so they then bring out a more expensive one and put Taste the Difference on it and sell it in Sainsbury's. Well, they don't actually do that. But
Now
you know
you
what I mean.
confuse yourself, you poor old goat. Is it? Sorry.
And I'm moving it on. James has plainly gone quite mad. We're getting back to cars, because that's where we're supposed to be. There's a new mini estate car coming along. They're calling it the Clubman. It's got 5 doors, but they're not where you might expect. We've got a picture here, look. We've got 2 at the back. When you close those, there's a big line down the centre of the car, so you can't see out the rear-view mirror. Then you get 2 on this side and 1 on the other, and you can tell it's German.
How?
Because if you pull up in Germany with that, OK, to let your children out of the back, the only back door, they're on the curb, but they don't switch it round for right-hand drive. So if you pull up in Britain, open the back door to let the children out, they're in the middle of the road.
So what they're really saying is British children are less important than German children.
That is the advertising slogan for that car.
Is it?
No.
I think that's a bit like Tesco's own brand bean.
There you go. Yes, mate. You sit in your armchair, love. They'll be round in a bit. Love?
Shall we get on? 5th gear news. You know, we revealed last week they'd burned our furniture. Well, it turned out that this week, one of their presenters caught fire. Jason Potato.
Plato.
Well, actually, baked potato now. No, really, he was belting down the runway at Bruntingthorpe. His car caught fire. He was quite badly injured, actually, to go to hospital. He burnt his hand and his face and what have you. We wish him a speedy recovery. I'd just like to say thank you, God. Well, it's a Sunday show. He likes Top Gear more.
No, God's on our side.
I think
He
fifth
sent
gear-
his son along this week. Look, Jesus has come.
Has come amongst us.
The Son of God does not go to 5th gear. He doesn't.
That's never been said before.
No.
Oh, bad news.
What?
The Dacia Sandero. It's delayed.
Oh, no. Anyway, last week, we introduced a campaign to rid Britain of its signposts, and it seems to have struck a bit of a chord with the country. There's been sent loads and loads of stupid signs that need taking down. One of my favourites is this one. Now, quite apart from the fact that the sign cost 500 quid, how long was the meeting and involving how many people and how many biscuits before they said, no, we can't put 10 miles, people will think we're just making it up?
So what? After 11 miles, are the squirrels just grey again?
It's very precise, isn't it?
It
What if one day you got a really brave red squirrel that said, I'm going to go for the 12, cross the boundary, or he was reaching over for a nut?
Can I show you another really stupid sign? Look at this one. Now, I live in the countryside and I know squirrels don't have antlers.
Well, actually, I have been tossed by a squirrel like that at
I'm
Chatsworth
sorry?
House. I mean, head-butted. No, not tossed. Head-butted. That is the technical expression.
I wouldn't be surprised if one of your clubs offers squirrel tossing.
Yes.
Anyway, look, I went on the internet this week and I found this. I also found this. What that should say is lane closed so that we can impose a preposterously low speed limit on the lane that isn't closed and then put average speed cameras up so we can catch you speeding and fine you and spend the money on signs with squirrels on them with antlers. That's what that should say.
Now, have you ever wondered what all that writing on the side of your tyres actually means?
No.
I honestly couldn't care less.
Well, don't wonder no longer. Because it's all been deciphered in this handy cut-out-and-keep guide to what all the writing on your tyres mean. Look at
Who's done that? Who's done... How boring do you have to be to do that?
It's to be interesting.
Have you done it? All right, then what's the number 7 mean?
Number 7. Well, I've got the key here. That's of no relevance to the UK market.
There you are. It's
Thank God.
Now let's do the news. And if, well, do you know that little Fiat? I just love it. Seeing it on the telly there, I just want one as it bounces around the track. It's great. But if, for some reason, maybe you're like Eeyore, you don't want one of those.
Are you wearing that for a bet?
Yeah,
He is. Oh, OK. Sorry, you were saying, go on.
If, like Eeyore, you don't want one of those, there is an alternative sort of super fast little micro car. It's this Renault Twingo 133. Now, that's 0 to 68.7 seconds, 125 miles an hour. It's not quite as fast as the Fiat, very nearly. But, more importantly, that, even with the clever sort of sports chassis, which is a 650 quid option, is still 1,300 quid less than the Fiat. That's 12,000.
That's 12. Yeah, I know. That is extremely good value for money.
I love it.
It is. Actually, we've got one of those in the studio over there, and I've been driving it this morning, and I think it's excellent.
I think, honestly, having driven both of them, and I have, the Fiat is £1,000 more, but I think it's worth it. Does that make sense? It's worth £1,000 more.
And there's more fast, small car news from Renault with this, which is the Megane R26R, and I think that looks really great as well.
Yeah, I saw that and thought of you straight away. No, I thought, what that James May is going to want is a hatchback with red wheels, 6-point harnesses, a carbon fibre bonnet, plastic windows. That's him.
It is, and James, it's French, who you like to think of as lamb-burning communists. It's perfect for you in every way.
How did you arrive at wanting that?
Because I like it.
Look, James, let me put it to you this way. You would have to have literally no penis at all to buy a car like that.
How do you work that out?
Well, because we're always being told that the flashness of your car is inversely proportionate to the size. Is this right? Am I talking sense here, girls? So the larger the man's car, the flasher it is, the vegetable thing goes on.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And you're saying that to a man with a 1.2-litre Fiat Panda? Mr. Swollen Wheel Archer's Mercedes CLK Black.
He has a point there. He does.
You've got a Ford Mustang.
Let's move on.
Can we stop talking about cars?
Well, we weren't talking about
That's true, we weren't actually talking about cars latterly, but we were to start with. Now, I want to congratulate Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah.
I think we all should.
Yeah.
What a race, what a man. What a performance. Couple of tips, though, if you're watching Lewis, OK? We saw in the paper, OK, here, that his girlfriend said, and she's the one from the Pussycat Dolls, you're going to get it tonight.
Hey.
OK, that's what she said after the race. We then saw in another paper that he'd actually done this. Stayed up till 9 a.m.
What?
If you've got a Pussycat Doll, Lewis, saying you're going to get it tonight, here's an idea, go to bed and have it.
Maybe he didn't realise what she meant. I've already won it. No, not that. How could he get it so wrong?
We're a bit baffled by that.
It's just...
Hey, listen, while we were filming that, it was amazing how it sort of brought back all that excitement of when we first learned to drive, when we were 17. Yeah. And, you know, the driving test and passing it. Well, not passing it in your case, because what was it you did? Yeah. What do you do in a driving test if you don't pass it?
Yes. All right, I failed. I failed first time. Yes, I did.
Failure.
Yes, I failed.
Why did you fail?
Well, because a traffic light went red as I was coming up to it, and the examiner said, proceed as you normally would, so I gave it a bootful. Failed.
Presumably you passed first time?
No.
Really?
I failed.
No?
Yeah.
You failed? What, you got lost?
We were going along, and all of a sudden, he hit the dashboard with his clipboard, and he said, look out, there's a small child in the road. And I said, no, there isn't, and kept going. Because there wasn't.
So you were just being pedantic?
No, I was being correct.
He was anticipating an emergency stop, not an argument, you fool.
Was he?
Yeah, that's what was going on. Actually...
What?
Well, while we're on the subject, At the other end of the scale from our failure, you turned up with a pair of scissors in your pocket, claiming it was ready to cut the L plates off your car.
No, it's true.
That's kind of optimistic.
I didn't see it as a driving test so much as a confirmation of my excellence.
Oh, God.
No, I mean, that's really what it was, because when he said, the man, whatever he was, the instructor, examiner, when he said, congratulations, Mr. Clarkson, you've passed, what I heard was, congratulations, Mr. Clarkson, you are the best driver I've ever seen in my life. And so you can imagine my surprise 36 hours later to find myself in a field surrounded by sheep that were no longer alive and bits of what used to be my mum's Audi. How did this happen? I'm the best driver in the world and I've gone and stuffed it.
Right, can we now do the news?
Yes,
Because last
yes.
week we were talking about the government's scrappage scheme, which is important. And we got sort of distracted by talking about playing croquet with tortoises instead.
Dead tortoises. Anyway, we mustn't do that again because it is the scrappage scheme genuinely is important, okay? Because what's happening is to prop up the car industry, the government is really encouraging you to scrap your old car and buy a new one. The trouble is that the cars people are buying are Korean, which means the government is using our money to help Kim Jong-il buy nuclear weapons.
That's the wrong bit of career.
Oh, don't be so pedantic.
Well, it's not. It's
just
hardly
not.
pedantic, Jeremy. One is a free market economy making a harmless hatchback, and the other is a totalitarian regime allegedly making weapons of mass destruction.
When a nuclear bomb drops on your house, don't come crying to me about your important distinctions.
Why would the South Koreans nuke Hammersmith?
They use American guidance systems.
Look, we're going off topic again. Can we get back?
Yes.
Can we get back to the
Yes.
scrappage scheme?
Yes.
Because, now this is an important point. It is more ecological, and this is a fact. The Green Party agree with us on this, only on this point, but they agree with us on this point, that it's more ecological to keep an old car going than it is to scrap it, throw it away, and build a new one.
But that is a true fact. And the other thing as well is if you've got an old car, OK, we really are on topic here. If you've got an old car, it has to be serviced by someone, and that someone is going to be under an arch at the end of your road, and not Kim Jong-il. As we know, Formula One has always been the most glamorous sport in the world, hasn't it, yeah? But not anymore, not from next year. There's 4 new teams joining in, OK? One of them, Manor Grand Prix, is based in Sheffield. How glamorous is that? Oh, yeah.
Strictly speaking, it's actually between Sheffield and Rotherham.
Well, if we're going to be specific and pedantic, it's between Sheffield, Rotherham and Worksop in a place called Dillington, which I know well. And it's exactly like Monte Carlo, apart from in every single detail.
It's like the shine off it a bit, isn't it? I can't wait to see their new car.
Oh.
Don't know why I bother with all that carbon fibre. I made mine out of steel.
Yeah.
Stainless.
Stainless steel. I'll tell you what, if that Fernando Alonso twats into our car, his Ferrari will be buggered. I'll tell you that for no.
Funny, my dad worked in pit, and now I've got a job in pit.
They're replacing Toyota, and they've signed Emo Glock, who presumably is currently learning why it's important to punch anyone who looks at him funny. Is anyone from Sheffield? Are you? Whereabouts? You're from Sheffield? This is honestly, because I'm just thinking, they're using Cosworth engines, or I should say Sheffield, Cosworth.
Cosy.
No, Cosworth. You've got to like have a stroke halfway through the word. Cosworth.
So your face sort of falls. Cosy. Your face falls off.
Yes, just go on. Can we just practice? Can we just, you're from Sheffield, just practice it, just show us.
How'd you say it?
Cosworth.
There you are. I think it's fair to say that that team is probably now Top Gear's absolute favourite F1 team. I want them to win everything, so on the podium they're going to have a big brass band at the end.
Oh, abide with me. No, that's a national anthem. Well, having abide with me on a brass band be lovely. Now, criminals, would you like to get away with your crimes? Are you capable of running more than 100 yards? Well, good news, because the police are thinking of using these now. It's a Mitsubishi Electric. They say it's helping them crack down on CO2.
I don't want the police to crack down on CO2. I want them to get my bloody television back, because it's been 6 years since that was nicked, and I haven't heard a peep out of them whilst they've been going on about cracking down on CO2. I'm going to have to buy another one at this rate.
What were you stopped for the other day by a policeman? It was some motoring misdemeanor. He just turned around and said, "Oh, good, this must mean you found my television." I tell you what, if I was a policemanist and my chief Freemason came into the office one morning and said, I don't mean I mean chief constable.
You didn't mean that, yeah.
Who's getting muddled up? And he said, right, you've got to do your B to one of those. I would drink my own pepper spray.
stop bleating, let us do the news.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to start on a serious note, if I may, with the news, because, as we know, for many years we've been told that Wayne Rooney is the light and the path to righteousness, and we must emulate his lifestyle and indeed the lifestyle of his lovely wife, Colleen. Now, of course, we realise he is a lazy, talentless, jug-eared oaf. He is...
Quite strong.
And it's strong but true. I'm now hoping this means an end to the Roonification of Britain. Exhibit A, the Range Rover, OK? Now, this was the old model. Note the plain, sensible front end, just some headlights to see where you're going.
It's noble.
It's noble, as dignified as a rolled umbrella. Now look what they've done to it. Look at this. Honest, this is the new one.
What is it?
How much bling can you get on the front?
It's all these fiddly headlamps and all this business going on.
I'm surprised it doesn't have studs in its ears. Here. They have literally ruined it. And now, listen, I am aware, of course, that there is a demand for a car that looks like this, because I know there is such a place as Cheshire. And I don't mind if they make this Range Rover Rooney edition.
I could just call it the Range Rooney.
Which is
The Wayne Wover.
These are good names. These are good names. But all I'm asking is, please, can everybody else, ordinary, decent people, have the old one back? Please?
Actually, I have to say I agree with you. There needs to be a version of the new Range Rover that isn't for people who want to celebrate the life and work of a potato-faced shopping enthusiast.
We want the old one back, we really do.
We do. Oh, now, there aren't very many things that we all agree on, except this. We all think that the best small car that you can buy at the moment is the Citroën DS3.
Yeah.
No, we're not joking about this. That is a genuinely brilliant little car.
Think about it. It's like a Mini that smokes gulwas. It's just... It
is. It's fantastic.
The weird thing is, it's got exactly the same engine as the Mini, hasn't it? As the Mini Cooper, but it just feels better for some
It does.
reason.
It's great. Anyway, the reason I brought this up is because they're bringing out a new hot version of this. Got a picture of it here. It's called the Racing. OK?
Yeah.
200 horsepower. The only thing is, Citroën will not. They refuse to tell us how much it's going to cost. I'm just going to make it up. 50 quid. There you go. It's £50.
It's £50.
That's fantastic. And the thing is, who in their life wouldn't want orange wheels?
Well,
seriously.
Well, anyone with red hair, I imagine it'll clash. Squirrels, red squirrels, they were terrible.
Or the Duchess of York.
Anne Robinson.
Yes.
The Pope. What's he called? The Pope bloke?
Well, the Pope.
Silence, you two. They're only making 1,000 of them because they're French and therefore idle communists.
Well, that's because nobody wants orange wheels, obviously. We don't know.
Anyway, I can't wait to get a go in that. It just looks brilliant.
It does look
and I do like the wheels.
Hey! Good news. Look, I have secured some top-secret film taken inside the factory of the new Dacia Duster being made.
Excellent. Excellent. Anyway, the end of... I'm sure you have. Sure you like it very much. The end of last week's programme, this appeared. This is called the end board. This is what you see every single week at the end of every single programme, except for Top Gear, look. MMXX. That's 2020. This is the only programme coming from 10 years in the future.
And now we must do the news, and we start off with news that since James drove that Virage, Aston Martin have launched a new car. And here it is. It's called the V12 Zagato. There it is. And, James, you'll be particularly interested in this, mate, I think.
Will I?
Yeah, you will, you will. Because the boss of the company was quoted this week as saying, "The Nürburgring is where we sign off every new model." Quoting, "And there can be no better place for the new V12 Zagato to be finally tested," said the boss of Aston Martin.
For crying out loud. Do you know what? If I'd been in Bomber Command in 1943, I would have bombed the Nürburgring every single night until it was gone. Am I the only person who thinks like this?
This bad back of yours, would you say it makes you a bit crabby?
There's nothing to do with that bad back. I'm not he's got a bad back as well, but he won't agree with me about it.
Okay.
Ride is important.
All right, all right.
Bomb it! It was a bad policy. Look where we are now. We no longer have Dresden Cathedral or all that lovely pottery, but we do have the Nürburgring, and under my bombing policy, we wouldn't have cars that rode badly, and you'd have a nice cathedral to look at and better saucers.
Now, Have you noticed how some of the best-looking cars you can buy these days are like ordinary family saloons or hatchbacks or...
Oh, I know what you mean.
Yes.
estates?
Yeah,
I mean, Citroen
everyday
sent us
car.
a picture of their new DS5. OK, that is a good-looking, sort of ordinary mid-sized car.
The Peugeot 508 is a good-looking car as well, isn't it?
It is. No, we've got a picture of it here. Because what makes that particularly good is that Peugeots in recent years have had these sort of the big guppy mouths on them. Yes, that.
Yes.
That is a very good impersonation of a Peugeot. No, that's what they used to be. I can only impersonate a Morgan.
Yeah.
Can you do any other car?
No, I can only do Peugeots, but I can do any Peugeot you name. 308?
207. I'll stump him. You know the tiny little one, the 1007 with the electric sliding doors?
Oh. It's exactly like that.
Now, last week we looked at a modern-day interpretation of the E-Type, which was fantastic. OK, well, now there's another one. Here it is. I mean, I just think that looks spectacularly good. Starts out in life as a Jaguar XKR, modern-day car, and then a Swiss company ups the V8 engine by 100 horsepower, and then they fit a, well, I have to say, brilliant-looking carbon fibre and aluminium body, so it's 200 kilograms lighter.
That's gorgeous.
I know.
I'm not sure I really like it.
Well, that's because you're odd.
You are.
But you are very odd. But I think there is a problem with this car because they've called it the Growler.
Yeah. Now, we Googled Growler, and we were quite surprised and a bit shocked by what it turns out to mean.
And do you know, Richard, I've just forgotten what it is. What does it mean? Can you tell the ladies and gentlemen?
Well, you know those big welcome mats you might see on a girl in the 70s?
That's what it is.
One of them.
Why would you name your car after that?
Honestly, James, I don't think they knew. I think they're sitting now in Zurich or wherever they are. This is the first time they've realised that Growler means that in England. And they'll be sitting going, Gott in Himmel! Wolfgang, we have accidentally named the car after ein Fraugarten!
I'm not sure they're going to sell very many of those.
No, neither do I, and there's another reason why. It costs £670,000. Yeah, there probably will be a trimmed-down version later, but I'll bet you... just for the Brazilian market.
Good news, chaps.
No, what?
There's a new Dacia, and I've got a... Thank you, I've got a picture of it. Here it is, it's called the Logi.
Oh, that's a looker, isn't it?
Anyway, moving on. Whiplash is a charter for fraudsters.
I know what you mean.
No, we all know this, OK? Because you have a car accident, you go, oh, I've got whiplash, and then you rate the other motorist's insurance policy, and you get benefits for the rest of your life. Now, the government has said that this has to stop. So, they have announced, the government, right, that if the impact speed is less than 6.25 miles an hour, you can't have whiplash.
6.25.
6.25.
But then they're also saying if it's like 6.5, you could get whiplash at that speed. You
Yeah.
can do that speed sitting down quickly. Look, I'm doing about 6.5, I've got whiplash. I'll just sue him.
It should be 63 miles an hour. That
At
would be a
least.
reasonable speed.
The question should be, is your car absolutely and entirely wrecked? Is it crumpled like a discarded crisp bag, in which case you might have whiplash?
Has the boot lid badge been stencilled onto your own spine? Well, then you've got whiplash.
Could be.
No, it's not. It's can you actually look up your own arse now? Because it
Yeah,
you've possibly got some whiplash.
It could be.
Honestly, I really do genuinely believe this. People who claim they've got whiplash when they haven't, I don't believe in capital punishment, but they should be shot.
Really?
Where would you shoot them?
In the head.
No, I meant more sort of geographically.
Yeah.
Where would you shoot them?
Oh, God.
On their own or in front of anyone? Do you want to say that?
Front and behind.
Let's just sort it out. Usually goes well when you do. Maybe on a different show. Let's just get it just so we can straighten out your belief. Who do you think should be shot? Where? And in front of whom? Just tell us that.
Now, moving it on, I've got some actual news.
Oh, don't be daft.
What, in our news
section?
In the news section. Yes, it's not just rubbish.
Careful, we're in uncharted waters here.
OK. I have it on good authority that Land Rover is currently working on a 300 horsepower convertible version of the new Evoque.
The Evoque?
Yeah.
Ooh, have you got a picture?
No. But I've got a picture here of the hardtop one because it's so secret. This only I know. Well, not only I. Everybody now knows about it. So I thought, look, you can...
Stand back. He's got scissors. Well, look at him concentrate. Look at him now. That's it. It's the Top Gear orangutan. Look at his happy little face, completely absorbed in his own world.
And if you watch very carefully, everybody, you can see Jeremy's mouth moving in time.
Yeah, it does.
It's quite tricky going down the door
It's
mirror.
a tricky windscreen bit now, isn't it?
Ready?
And across the line.
Actually, it was quite good, didn't it?
Quite good. All right.
And am I right in saying that would be the first ever convertible off-road car?
Yeah, well, apart from the original Willys Jeep and the first Toyota Land Cruiser and the original Land Rover, but apart from that, yeah.
Apart from the very origins, genesis, the whole foundation, if you will, of the entire concept of off-roader is founded upon a convertible.
Yeah. Did I say that out loud?
You did, and we all heard it.
That is a bit like saying they should make a song called Blue Suede Shoes.
Yes, they should.
Yeah, done that before. Now, you know those motorway gantries that are supposed to be used to tell you about stationary traffic ahead or ice?
Yes.
But they're actually used for telling you stuff that just doesn't matter. I mean, the picture of one here. Yeah, check your fuel level. You might as well say, wash your hands after going to the lavatory.
Brush your hair.
Yeah, well, anyway, the committee that decides on what messages are flashed up, and it is a committee, we checked, has been told to stop doing that sort of thing, OK? Because the government says it's distracting. But it isn't distracting, it's irritating. Scarlett Johansson in a short skirt on a windy day on a motorway bridge, that is distracting.
That would be...
It's
distracting me right now.
Yeah.
I think what would be distracting would be if you painted the surface of the motorway so that it looked like the opening sequences of Doctor Who as you drove along.
That would be really distracting.
I think they should use those signs to put up pub quiz questions as you drive past. Just ask them, come on,
That's a really good idea. What, and then you have the answer on the next one along?
yeah, journeys that just fly by. Ooh, I don't know. And then you get the answer.
Brilliant.
Yes, thank you.
Not if my little sister set the questions, because
Why?
you'd get the question on one and then the next one would go, oh, come on, you must know that.
Please, can we move on? I'd like to talk about this. It's the new Corvette Z6. Oh, yeah, supercharged V8, 6.2 litres, 625 brake horsepower. It's got a magnetic ride control, electronic diff, carbon fibre, all the high-tech stuff you get on a European sports car.
Yeah, it doesn't really have the European self-restraint, though, does it? That's a bit more shock and awe than stiff upper lip.
Yeah, but look at it. It's...
No, Hammond, you can't drive a Corvette in England. It's like talking in a lift. You can do that in America, you can't do that in Britain. In fact, we should have signs at Heathrow telling American visitors, please drive on the left and don't talk in lifts.
Yes, whatever, but I think that looks stupendous. It looks great.
Yes, it would look stupendous in Texas, but it would look ridiculous in Tewkesbury. It would. Hammond, if you bought one of those and drove it around in England, the next thing you'd do would be hanging up a Confederate flag outside your house.
I did paint a Confederate flag on the roof of my Toyota Corolla when I was 17.
Where were you?
Ripon, North Yorkshire. What? Look
Let
brilliant.
me just get this straight. You drove around North Yorkshire in a crappy little Japanese hatchback with a Confederate flag on the roof.
Yeah.
A symbol of slavery. Ladies and gentlemen, 12 years of Hammond.
I just thought it looked nice.
The base model of this,
Yes.
not the Z06, the normal one, 60 grand?
62, yes.
Well, for about the same sort of money, you can have this, which is the new Jag, OK? This is the F-Type Coupe. That's around the same sort of money. And I put it to you that what we have here is a lovely piece of double Gloucester on a water biscuit. Your Corvette is 600 kilos of Monterey Jack on a teacup.
I'd rather have that.
You'd rather have the Monterey Jack, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. Surely it's 600 kilograms of Monterey Jack on a Takeo with a strawberry on top.
Strawberry.
There's always a strawberry on top. What, are there any Americans here?
Yeah, no. You are?
Hey, we've wondered
Why
about this
do
for
you
years.
put strawberries on everything?
Because it tastes good.
Yeah, but not on a shepherd's pie.
This is not an exaggeration. I stayed in a hotel in LA. I had to have some dry cleaning done. And when it came back in the morning, it was all wrapped up and there was a strawberry on it.
What, on your dry cleaning?
No, on my dry cleaning.
Hammond.
What?
You like a Camaro, don't you? The big new Chevrolet Camaro.
Yes, I do.
OK, well, they've made one just for you. Here it is. There you
How
go.
funny. Thank you.
It's actually, ignore the little one, that's a Hot Wheels one. What they've done is a full-size Hot Wheels model of the Camaro.
What? So they've made a full-size version of a model which is a miniature version of a full-size car.
Yes, can't
to start.
understand the logic myself.
No.
But there you are, that's what they've done.
That's a brilliant idea.
Is it?
Well, that will survive an 800-mile-an-hour impact with a giant skirting board and come out completely unscathed.
The worst thing about Hot Wheels was when you get up in the night for a pee and you tread on one. Or Lego.
Lego is...
Or an upturned plug.
No. Lego's worse.
Why?
Because an upturned plug is big, Lego hides in the carpet. You can't see it, and then all
Is
of a
there
sudden...
anything worse than an upturned plug for treading on in the middle of the night?
Lego.
A landmine.
A tiger.
Your house, James. I know something worse.
Dog.
Dog was about to say. Daisy took the words right out of my mouth. It's the ow.
It's that
If you have a lot of dogs,
moment.
it can happen. It's not a...
It is. You have horses in your house.
I did, on occasion, yes, it has happened.
Have you ever trodden in some horse manure?
Possibly unbeknownst to me, I just had a warm foot.
Anyway, if you want a full-size model of a toy car, it's basically a Camaro with Hot Wheels written on it, it's £40,000.
Yeah, but it will be worth more if you keep it in the box.
Oh, now, business news.
Yes?
Important business news. Classic cars. Values have been shooting through the roof in recent years and months, actually. And I think I know why. It's because if you put your life savings in a bank, you get, what is it nowadays, 0.5% interest? It's about 0.5%. So if you put £25,000 life savings in the bank, you get...
125 quid.
It is about 125
Yeah,
quid a year back in interest, OK? Now, if you'd have bought 10 years ago an E-Type Jab for £25,000, it would now be worth £80,000. £80,000. And you'd have had an E-Type to drive around in, because you can't drive around in a bank statement. So it makes perfect sense.
And there's no tax, presumably, on the profit on
No,
the
there
car,
isn't.
is there?
No, on a car you can sell it and you don't even pay any tax on it.
But there's quite a lot of cars doing that. Ferrari 275 GTS, if you bought one of those 10 years ago, about £130,000. Now, £500,000
I know.
in 10 years.
I know, it's staggering how
That's
cars
all
have
right.
gone
The difficult thing, though, is knowing what to pick next, spotting what's going to do that, is it?
Talk to me.
Really?
So, Jeremy, what's
Literally
going to be?
expert. I once bought a BMW 3-litre CSL for £3,000. They're now worth 40, 50?
Yeah.
Easily.
How much did you sell yours for?
1,500 quid.
Well done.
I am the man you turn to at times.
Come on.
My
Your
tip
top
now.
tip.
Subaru Impreza, probably.
We've got to take this quite seriously, though, because we could actually dispense sound financial advice.
Yeah,
And
really?
actually, a car I've noticed that has gone up a lot in recent years is the Rolls-Royce Corniche.
Yeah, like the one you've got, James, really.
Yeah.
How much is it worth now, James?
About £1 million.
Is it? Is it really?
That's nothing compared to the Mercedes 600 Grosser.
Ah, such as the one you've got, Jeremy.
£1 billion.
Really?
A billion? A
That
straight
is
billion.
now $1 billion to buy
Wow.
one of those. If anybody's interested, give me a shout after the show.
Yeah.